He sold chai tea at a railway station as a boy. His family lived in a house measuring just 40 feet by 12 feet. He ran away from home at 17, wandered India alone for 2 years, looking for his purpose. He found it, and then he spent the next 40 years making the entire world take notice. In May 2025, he ordered India's most daring military strike since the Bangladesh War of 1971, hitting 9 targets inside Pakistan in just 23 minutes. He named that operation Sindoor after the red powder that married Hindu women wear on their forehead because the terrorists in Kashmir had killed Hindu men and left their wives widowed. The son of a tea seller, now commanding the world's most populous democracy for a third consecutive term. How does a man like that happen? This is Narendra Damodardas Modi, India's 14th Prime Minister, and this on AK World Vision is his complete story. I am Amrendra Kumar. Welcome to AK World Vision. Today, the biography of the man reshaping India and India's place in the world. Let's get into it. The 17th of September 1950, 3 years after India gained independence, in a small town called Vadnagar in the state of Gujarat, a boy is born, Narendra Damodardas Modi, the third of six children. His father, Damodardas Modi, ran a small tea stall at the local railway station. His mother, Hiraban Modi, cleaned dishes in neighbors' homes to help the family survive. Their house 40 feet by 12 feet. Not a bungalow, not a flat. 40 feet by 12 feet. Every morning, young Narendra would go to the station with his father and help sell chai to passengers. He later described those mornings, the steam engines, the rush of travelers, the clinking of glasses, as his first classroom. Then, during the 1965 Indo-Pakistan War, when he was just 14 or 15 years old, trains full of Indian soldiers began passing through Vadnagar. Young Narendra would run to the station and offer hot chai to the soldiers. Nobody asked him to. He just went, a boy from a 40-foot house, serving soldiers going to war. At 8 years old, he was introduced to the RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, India's Hindu nationalist cultural organization built on discipline, ideology, and brotherhood. He began attending daily shakhas, morning sessions of physical training, and Hindu nationalist philosophy. The RSS would shape him EVM network, a belief system, and eventually a career. At 18, he married Jashodaben Chimanlal Modi in an arranged marriage, but almost immediately he left for nearly 2 years. He wandered across India alone, visiting ashrams, Himalayan hermitages, inspired by the writings of Swami Vivekananda. He later said those 2 years were a search for purpose. He found it when he returned to Gujarat and joined the RSS full time. In 1971, Modi became a full-time RSS pracharak. A pracharak gives up everything. No personal wealth, no family, no salary. Complete total dedication to the organization. Then came his first real test. Yen. In 1975, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared a national emergency. Democracy was suspended. Opposition leaders were arrested. The RSS was banned. Modi went underground. He disguised himself, sometimes as a Sikh, sometimes as a sadhu, moving through Gujarat, organizing resistance against the government. He was a wanted man, moving in the shadows, eluding arrest. He wrote a book documenting the experience, titled Sangharshma Gujarat, meaning struggle in Gujarat. This period, being hunted by the state, hardened him completely. After the emergency, the RSS assigned him to the BJP in 1985. He rose methodically. 1988 General Secretary BJP Gujarat Unit, 1995 National Secretary BJP, 1998 General Secretary BJP nationally. He organized some of the BJP's most consequential campaigns, including the Somnath to Ayodhya Rath Yatra, which built the BJP's national base. In January 2001, A massive earthquake struck Bhuj in Gujarat. Over 20,000 people died. The response of the incumbent chief minister was widely seen as too slow. The BJP replaced him with Narendra Modi. He became chief minister of Gujarat, having never won a single election in his life. He had barely settled when disaster struck again. The 27th of February 2002, a train carrying Hindu pilgrims was set on fire at Godhra station. 58 people burned alive. What followed shocked India and the world. Communal riots swept across Gujarat. Over 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, were killed. Entire neighborhoods destroyed. Hundreds of thousands fled. Modi's handling of the riots became one of the most debated questions in modern Indian history. Critics accused him of failing to stop the violence. Some alleged his government actively allowed it. A Supreme Court appointed a special investigation team. After years of investigation, found no prosecutable evidence against Modi, but the controversy never fully went away. The United States, citing the International Religious Freedom Act, denied him a visa in 2005, making him the only Indian leader ever denied entry to America on these grounds. Most politicians facing that level of international condemnation would have been finished. Modi was not finished. In the 2002 Gujarat elections, held just months after the riots, the BJP won 127 of 182 seats. His popularity among Gujarat's Hindu majority surged. And then he got to work. Yes, over 13 years as chief minister, Modi built a reputation as India's most effective administrator, round the clock electricity, in a state that had suffered chronic power cuts, new roads, new ports, new industrial corridors. He hosted the vibrant Gujarat summits, attracting billions in foreign investment. The Gujarat model became famous and controversial across India. And in 2007 and 2012, he won re-election decisively. By 2013, the BJP leadership knew this man from Vadnagar was their best shot at Delhi. The 2014 general election was unlike anything India had seen. 814 million eligible voters, the world's largest democratic exercise. And Modi ran the most technologically sophisticated campaign India had ever seen. He used 3D hologram technology, projecting his image simultaneously to hundreds of venues across multiple states. His social media team reached millions of first-time voters. His message laser-focused. He was the antidote to a decade of corruption scandals. Under the Congress government, he was the development story, the Gujarat story, the self-made man story. The 16th of May 2014, BJP won 282 seats, an outright majority, on their own for the first time in 30 years. On the 26th of May 2014, Narendra Modi was sworn in as Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister born after India's independence. The boy from the 40-foot house, the chai seller's son, stood in Rashtrapati Bhavan and took the oath to lead 1.3 billion people. Modi's first term, 2014 to 2019, was defined by massive ambition. The achievements: Jan Dhan Yojana, financial inclusion at a scale the world had never seen. 530 million previously unbanked Indians got bank accounts. Direct benefit transfers reaching the poorest citizens. Cutting out middlemen and corruption. Electricity in villages went from 88% to nearly 100%. Hundreds of millions of Indians got reliable power for the first time in their lives. Swachh Bharat Clean India Mission, 100 million toilets built across rural India, addressing a public health crisis that had lasted for decades. And perhaps the most transformative, UPI Unified Payments Interface. India built a digital payment system so powerful, so seamless, that in 2024 alone, 172 billion transactions were processed. Countries from Singapore to France are now adopting India's UPI model. And the headline economic achievement: when Modi took office in 2014, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. By 2025, India had surpassed Japan and the United Kingdom and become the world's fourth largest economy, behind only the United States, China, and Germany. And India is now projected to become the third largest economy by 2030 with a GDP of $7.3 trillion. The controversies: the 8th of November 2016, 8 p.m. Modi appeared on national television and announced that 500 and 1000 notes, 86% of India's entire currency, would be invalid effective midnight, 4 hours notice for 1.3 billion people. The goal: eliminate black money, curb corruption, push digital payments. The reality: massive disruption, long queues, businesses shutting, farmers unable to buy seeds, daily wage workers unable to get paid. Economists debate it to this day whether it achieved what it promised. But where Modi clearly succeeded was on the global stage. He arrived in New York in 2014 and addressed 20,000 Indian Americans at Madison Square Garden, a first for any Indian PM. He built genuine personal relationships with Trump, Obama, Putin, Xi, Biden, Macron, every major world leader. Under Modi, India stopped merely reacting to global events. It began shaping them. Modi's second term, 2019 to 2024, saw decisions that will define India for generations. The 5th of August 2019, the Modi government revoked Article 370, removing Jammu and Kashmir's special autonomous status, a promise the BJP had made for decades. To supporters, it integrated Kashmir fully into India. To critics, it suppressed a region's identity and changed its demography by force. The debate continues. Then COVID-19 in March 2020, with just 4 hours notice. Modi ordered one of the world's largest lockdowns. 1.3 billion people. Stay home now. The images of migrant workers walking hundreds of kilometers on foot because public transport had stopped shocked the world. The second wave of 2021 devastated India. Hospitals overwhelmed, oxygen running out. But India also launched one of the world's largest vaccination programs, administering over 2 billion doses. The 22nd of January 2024, the Ram Mandir consecration Ayodhya. For the BJP and for hundreds of millions of Hindu Indians, this was a moment 70 years in the making. The Supreme Court had ruled in 2019 the disputed land belonged to the Hindus. And now Modi stood there as the chief yajman, the principal host performing the Prana Pratishtha ceremony. This was politically and emotionally perhaps the most powerful moment of his entire career. Modi's third term, which began in June 2024, brought a surprise. Modi had set a target of 400 plus seats. The BJP won 240, falling short of an outright majority alone. But the NDA coalition won 293 seats, enough to govern. On the 9th of June 2024, Modi was sworn in for his third consecutive term. He became the first non-Congress PM to win 3 consecutive general elections, matching Jawaharlal Nehru's record. The 22nd of April 2025, Pahalgam, Kashmir. Terrorists attacked a popular tourist meadow. They separated the men from the women, asked each man his religion, and shot the non-Muslims. 26 civilians were killed, 25 Indians and 1 Nepali national. Modi named the military response Operation Sindoor. Sindoor, the red powder that married Hindu women applied to their forehead. The name was a direct reference to how the terrorists had widowed Hindu wives by identifying and killing their husbands. The 7th of May 2025, between 1:05 and 1:30 am, Indian Air Force jets struck 9 locations inside Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The entire operation lasted 23 minutes. Targets included infrastructure linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed in Bahawalpur, Lashkar-e-Taiba in Muridke near Lahore, and Hizbul Mujahideen in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. It was the first time since 1971 that India struck targets across the international border into Pakistan's Punjab province. Pakistan retaliated, launching Operation Banyan and Marsos, targeting Indian military bases. It became the largest aerial engagement between the two countries with more than 114 aircraft from both sides. A ceasefire was agreed effective 5 p.m. on the 10th of May 2025. Modi declared India's new security doctrine. First, if there is a terrorist attack on India, a fitting reply will be given. Second, India will not tolerate nuclear blackmail. Third, we will not differentiate between terrorists and those who sponsor them. India's Chief of Defense Staff called Operation Sindoor India's new normal, establishing that no distinction will be made between terrorists and their state sponsors. Carnegie Endowment called it the most significant military strikes by India since 1971. India also suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, the landmark water sharing agreement with Pakistan from 1960. Pakistan threatened to exit the Simla Agreement. Questions remain about Indian aircraft losses, not officially confirmed but acknowledged as existing, and whether the ceasefire fully held both sides' disputed violations. But the strategic message was received loud and clear. Behind the decisions and the rallies, who is Narendra Modi as a person? He lives with extraordinary personal discipline. He wakes before dawn, meditates daily, practices yoga, eats simply, has been vegetarian his entire life. He sleeps just 4 to 5 hours a night. He is a prolific writer, having authored multiple books. He memorizes entire speeches and delivers them without notes. He married Jashodaben at 18 but left almost immediately. They have been estranged for over 50 years. He publicly acknowledged the marriage for the first time in 2014 when it was legally required on election nomination forms. He has no children. The person he spoke about with the most genuine emotion throughout his public career was his mother, Hiraban Modi, the woman who had washed dishes in neighbors' homes, who had raised 6 children in a 40-foot house. She lived simply till the very end in a modest flat in Gandhinagar. She died on the 30th of December 2022. She was 99 years old. Modi rushed from a government meeting to be at her side, the Prime Minister of 1.4 billion people sitting beside a woman who had once washed other people's dishes to feed her children. One notable absence in his public life. In 11 years as Prime Minister, Modi has not held a single unscripted press conference. He communicates through his monthly radio program, Man Ki Baat, through speeches, through social media, but never through questions he doesn't control. Critics say this is a democratic deficit. Supporters say it is discipline. After more than a decade as Prime Minister, Narendra Modi's legacy is genuinely complex. His supporters say he powered India from the 10th largest economy to the 4th largest in the world, surpassing Japan and the United Kingdom. India is now the fastest growing major economy on earth, growing at 6.5% to 7.4% annually, on track to become the third largest by 2030. He delivered on promises his party had made for decades. Article 370, Ram Mandir. He made India a country the world quotes, not a country that begs for investment. Operation Sindoor established a new red line. Cross-border terrorism will be met with military force. His critics say India experienced significant democratic backsliding under his tenure. Press freedom rankings dropped sharply in global indices. The 2002 Gujarat riots remain a permanent shadow on his record. Religious minorities, particularly Muslims, report increased insecurity and discrimination. Youth unemployment remained stubbornly high despite all the economic growth. He never held a single unscripted press conference in 11 years as PM. And demonetization, one of the biggest economic disruptions in India's history, caused enormous suffering for the poor. He is a man of genuine contradictions. The wandering sadhu who became a ruthless political strategist. The ascetic who speaks of simple living, who presides over a government that is accused of stifling dissent. The development champion who is also India's most polarizing leader. What is undeniable is that India under Modi has changed permanently. Whether that change is progress or whether it has come at too high a cost, that debate is far from over. From selling chai at a railway station to leading the world's most populous democracy for 3 consecutive terms, chai seller's son, RSS Pracharak, Chief Minister, 3-time Prime Minister, Narendra Modi is, whatever you think of him, the defining political figure of modern India. If this video gave you value, please drop a like. It genuinely helps AK World Vision grow. Subscribe for more deep dive political biographies like this. And tell me in the comments, how do you think history will judge Narendra Modi? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment. I'm Amrinder Kumar. This is AK World Vision. See the world differently.